I've been seeing a lot more of Streltsy lately, and I have to say I am quite happy about it. As a unit, they're very cool with their gun axes. All armor-piercing hybrid units of Kislev are solidly mid-tier in terms of price at 850 points. 70 armor, not the best melee attack and defense, but of course armor-piercing, weapon strength, and they do have guns, so some nice fast missile speed, armor-piercing missile attacks. We're back with some more BBB tournament replays. Once again, we've got Hanadins, this time versus his clanmate in ODM, Green One, who is very appropriately playing, what is it, Hawkland? Is that the green color scheme for the Empire? Anyway, we've got Kislev versus the Empire, so of course I'm going to cast this one, absolutely. We've got an Ice Witch leading the way, and 5 Streltsy, so they're definitely going to need to do some heavy lifting here in order for Hanadins to win. Got here some Cosmite Dervishes, Winged Lancers, Griffin Legion, Winged Lancers, Griffin Legion. So a huge mix of cavalry and then just 5 Streltsy. Makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, pretty good stuff overall. Love that build. The cavalry and missile unit combination is one that potentially can be quite powerful. But, sorry, just click a couple things here. Boris is going to lead the way for the Empire, and we've got some Empire Knights, Reichsguard even, trying to push out and get after those Cosmite Dervishes. More Empire Knights here, some grenade launchers, more Reichsguard. Got the Silver Bullets and some Swordsmen. I'd imagine, yeah, Huntsmen here, and Spearmen as well. Lord of Shadows caster is going to be throwing out some Melkos Mystifying Miasma on that Griffin Legion there. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Melkos right now. Even though it's a cheap spell, it does a pretty solid amount of damage. You can see that one cast is almost a quarter HP off of these Griffin Legion. It's not going to kill any unit models initially, but just weakening that HP pool overall over the course of a long battle, you can get some really good value with it. Not incredible burst, but definitely solid, reliable damage. And this is going to be looking to be a long one, potentially, as both players are very kind of patiently maneuvering around here. This is the, what is it, the Blue Reach River, MP, Blue Reach River map. This is not the river, it's just a little pond. The river is, like, off on one of the sides of the map. Anyway, but because of this little impassable pond here in the center, you kind of have to decide whether you want to engage on the left or on the right. Either way, there's not a ton of differences. There's just maybe some small gaps in the forest on this one side. Not too much that will affect the actual gameplay. It's more just about, you know, positioning here, possibly utilizing this area for defense, right? If you kind of push your formation up against it, maybe prevent to a degree, or at least delay the flanking around the other side. So very interesting. We're going to fast forward a little bit through this initial positioning phase as both players kind of decide mutually to fight on this side of the pond. And they're going to now get into position to do so. Streltsy obviously don't want to be fighting swordsmen in melee. That's really not what they're meant for. Even though their armor will help them out somewhat, that slightly lower attack and defense stat will kind of prove over time. Although you have higher weapon strength just total overall, even besides the armor piercing. So, but again, I mean, the swordsmen are less than half the cost of the Streltsy, so it's not cost effective at all in terms of an engagement. So instead, Kislev cavalry are bravely going to charge on the front line and just try to plow through this Empire light swordsman here, while the Streltsy then open fire. Grenade launchers will respond, and the Empire's own heavy cavalry here moving in to engage. Swordsmen, spearmen taunting Kislevits as they pull away here. Some of these winged lances are going to fall, but should be all good so far. These wing lancers are actually going to fully commit to a counterattack here with the Streltsy fire kind of blanketing in. Even just shooting swordsmen, I mean, you've got to get rid of them somehow, but certainly like these grenade launchers are going to be a great target. One volley almost removes half their HP there from those Streltsy. And so far, both players playing very patiently, not necessarily wanting to overcommit in any spots here, but the Green One swordsman definitely taking a pounding in the front line so far from these successive charges of Kislev cavalry. Spearmen moving now to reinforce. Once again, both players cycle charging their cavalry well, which is the right thing to do. They are all shock cavalry after all. Utilizing that charge bonus to best effect. Going to be the best effect, obviously. Anyway, Yeah, Grey Wizard here, though, in a little bit of danger. Boris is also trying to support these mobile cavalry engagements, but the Kislev's greater volume of mobility allows them to just get in here. Of course, By Our Blood means that once these dervishes are in combat, I mean, they're going to take a long time to get rid of. They're very likely going to be able to occupy these missile units at the very least, keep tying them down, and possibly even rout them off with a nice blizzard. Responding, the Empire here throws a nice bit of shades on those Streltsy. But so far, the Streltsy have been able to stand firm. The Kislev cavalry definitely sacrificing themselves bravely to keep these lines intact, but so far, if we take a look here, only one Streltsy has taken any meaningful damage. We're going to have the Ice Kitten summon here. Yes, Snow Leopard moving in to fight Boris. I have to say, the green looks really nice on the Griffin. And does Boris actually have, like, red and green with his blue and white headdress? That's kind of hilarious, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, Kislev cavalry just finding gaps perpetually. The Empire swordsman, or spearmen rather, will be able to hold out. Should be able to be able to fend off this attack fairly well. Those winged lancers aren't going to be doing much. Ones will finish off these Empire knights in the far side, but Streltsy are going to have to make a stand now. Thankfully, their armor piercing does allow them to punch back against the cavalry as long as they're not taking big, nasty charges. Armor, to a degree, will help resist the damage, and then, of course, they can attack back with those nice axes. There's a lot of Empire cavalry here, though. Beautifully placed Blizzard is going to catch this block of spearmen right as they come through. And that is, like, dead-on placement and beautiful timing on a fairly long cast time of the spell, so that's going to eliminate that unit completely, allow these Streltsy to stay moving. They are moving and shooting right now as best they can, burning to fire whatever threats kind of breach the perimeter. Boris is definitely going to be the most threatening thing at the current moment, and he's absolutely what could get Empire back. Right now, they're a little bit behind on the balance of power, but certainly if Boris can come through, like start to terrify away some of these Streltsy in tandem with his own support infantry or cavalry, it definitely gets some work done. Right now, he's chewing on this one unit and maybe getting staggered a little bit there as he's having a hard time getting up or bugging out his animation. I'm not really sure there. Yeah, he seems to be just awkwardly sidestepping into the unit. So the situation like that where if you notice something like that happening, try and issue an attack order on another unit. Might be able to rout them, but Empire Knights eventually do show up. Nope, just kidding. They're also getting their attack order interrupted by these Griffin Legion and the Ice Witch. They could get a charge in here, an impactful charge. They could probably rout the Streltsy. I guess By Our Blood, we'll see. That proc goes off before the Terror kicks in. Gonna be pretty tough to get rid of. Another huge benefit to Streltsy and just overall massive strength of Kislev is that army ability. Even if you compromise their missile units, it's still tough to actually rout them at times. Kind of the opposite of Kislev's own light cavalry going after enemy skirmishers, right? Where it's the light cavalry that are very tough to get rid of. But anyway, Boris is going to do his best to try and fight it out. The rest of his army is doing okay. Well, no, not really. Looks like the grenade launchers are immediately going to rout there. Blast these Empire Knights. Trying to help the Grey Wizard defeat the Griffin Legion and the Winged Lancers with that By Our Blood procs. And they're now going to just be holding in this engagement, at least for a little bit longer. Buy the Streltsy enough time to finish Boris off here. Really not looking good at all for the Empire as Kislev starts to defeat their final meaningful threats. Beautiful human versus human game, I have to say, and I love to see the 5 Streltsy and see them perform so well, especially in tandem with heavy cavalry. Like, it's just such a cool build setup, in my opinion. So massive props to Hanadins for taking such an awesome build and winning with it, doing very well. And Streltsy, in this matchup, the biggest threat they face is being countershot, I would think. I mean, Empire cavalry threatens them to a degree, but artillery also for the Empire can be quite impactful. I'm almost a little bit surprised not to see a rocket, perhaps, or even a cannon would be pretty solid too. To help shoot at Kislev cavalry. It can be really tough to protect artillery against Kislev though, because of I've discussed with By Our Blood. But Yeah, as risky as like the Sunmaker is, you could probably dump the ammo fast enough that even if the cavalry does manage to compromise your backline, get in there eventually, get enough value to pay for itself before that happens. It's tough to say, but definitely the Streltsy performing very well is awesome to see. The Winged Lancers also do their job, like I said, in some cases being sacrificed, but that's okay. Same with these Winged Lancers. One actually gets 1100 value, 144 kills, which is very nice to see. On the Empire side here, one Reichsguard also performs quite well. The other Empire Cavalry also kind of just gets sacrificed here. Difference being is that the Huntsmen and yeah, the Silver Bullets, they're not hybrid units, so when they get involved in those melee tangles, it goes very badly for them. And then infantry composition-wise, I mean, it's a little bit of a tough one for the Empire, I feel like, in this matchup. Yeah, I almost feel like you really got to rely on other sources of damage, but I need to really drill down this matchup and see what I think for myself. But I do like the pick of Grey Wizard. Boris also can be very solid here. Just, I think, got a little bit overwhelmed by the number of cavalry. I mean, this is, what, 9 cavalry units here from Hanadins? That's a lot of micro, but he pulled it off, so big props to him. We'll check in with Game 2 tomorrow, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Hopefully you like this. If you do, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification every time I upload a new video. You'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.